welcome to this new how-to. In this how-to we're gonna look at how we can start the A320 from scratch. And the reason I'm creating this video is because of Stuart. Stuart's one of my, I would say, probably most active subscribers, and he's posting a lot of questions and comments. And one of his questions was, okay, hey, how can you make a video about the A320 from scratch and how we can program the MCDUs? So, Stuart, this is the answer for your question. So I will probably create multiple videos from this because else it will be pretty long. So the first video we will have a look at how we can start the aircraft from scratch, and then we will continue with the flight. Once that's done, we're probably creating a third video where we're gonna do the landing of the aircraft. As you can see, it's currently snowing on Schiphol Airport, where the aircraft is located. It's pretty cold, so let's go inside the aircraft and let's start up the engines. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna switch on the functionalities, and most of the functionalities you will need will be displayed here. So if you want to follow the official checklist, there's a checklist which is part of the A32 Annex add-on, which contains a lot of steps, right? So what it allows you to do is, okay, we can switch, we can make sure that the engines are switched off, the engine mode set to normal, landing gears down. Well, makes sense, right? Because else probably the aircraft would be a little bit weird on the ground. We can go to the wipers, and keep in mind that some of them or some of the options are really pointing you directly to it, and some of them you need to go manually to it. And the next step is switching on the batteries. So we're gonna do that, and we're gonna switch on the external power. This one, yeah, I couldn't find an option yet, so keep that in mind. Maybe you also have the same issue, but I didn't find it yet. So we continue with the APU starter, and the APU starter options buttons can be found here. So we hit APU start and then this start menu. And as you might have seen in previous videos, you can monitor the progress of the APU, and you will need to go to the center screen where you will see the APU information. So the temperature, how far it started, and the APU generating, also how much power it generates. This will take some time, so let's continue with the rest of the checklist, which is having a look at the cockpit lights. So the cockpit lights, there are multiple options here. First of all, you've got the ECAM brightness, and you can change that for both the top screens and the bottom screens. So top screens can be seen here, the bottom screens can be seen here. And the next video, or the next part, is the rest of the cockpit lighting. Oh, sorry, one thing too far. And you will find them here. So you will find the dome lighting, which you can set to dimmed or to bright. Of course, what you prefer to do. So in this case, we switch them on to bright. So APU hasn't started yet, right? Because then this button will change to available. So we continue with the checklist. Well, parking brake is set. This one isn't active, right? The acupressure and the brakes. You will find that information here in the display. Where was it? Condition, I think. Yeah, there's something. Oh, that's in the in this option. This option doesn't work yet. We'll probably we'll be fixing the next version. Then we need to make sure that the flaps are good. Flaps are up. Speed brake is retracted. Auto probe window heat. Well, in this case it's really useful, right? Because it's pretty cold at Amsterdam Airport, and you will find the probe window heat. You will find the option here in this row. So these all have to do with anti-icing or heat, so all with warming up the airplane. The speed brake needs to be retracted. Oh, 3, we already went to that. APU on. Well, let's first have a look at how the APU is, so we can have a look at this screen. And since it's already switched to the other screen, the door screen, we know that it's being started, but just for completeness, you can press the APU button here and you can see the information being displayed here. So that's all fine. So we're gonna go back to the top of the aircraft, and as you can see here, now it's set to available. So once it's set to available, you can press the APU bleed option. If you switch on the APU bleed option, it will automatically switch on the other APU options, so they're not switched off. So you can hear some additional noise coming on. So then we're gonna zoom out to see if we got any button which is white. And as you can see, there are some white buttons left, which is the fuel and the fuel pumps for the engines, and also this signs button, but you can't change it as we speak. Then there's several other functionalities which you can go to, right, which you only need to check. And of course, the last one is the exterior check, which you can do either via the, right, if you like to do it, you can do it using the drone option. So you can inspect the aircraft, inspect the wheels, inspect the engines. As you can see, there's already some icing on the engines, so be aware of that. So we need to take that into account. Really close look, sorry. And also on the wings there's some icing, so that's something we need to keep in mind. So once you went to all the 25 checks, you can go to the cockpit preparation, and this is where we're gonna go to the MCDU. So what we're gonna set up is the takeoff speed, etc. But before doing that, we're gonna do something else. Because I want to make you aware that you can use the Simbrief add-on really easy by going to the options menu and then the AOC. You will find the Simbrief menu here. You can press it. You can either specify the user name or the user ID. So the user ID can be found on the flight plan before generating the OPF. The username is the name you are logging in to Simbrief. So once that's done, that's fine. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to ATSU and then again to AOC menu, because we first need to collect some information. So what I normally do is I will go to the init menu, and then I will make sure that I press the init data request option. What this option does, it simply pulls the data in from Simbrief, and it pulls in the flight number, the time, the departure and arrival airports, ETA, so the flight time. And if we go to the next page, that contains some more information about, okay, hey, fuel remaining, so what's the fuel remaining when we are landing, the doors when they will be closed, etc. So some useful information which you might want to use. Again, I'm gonna go to the menu, but then we go to the perf menu. The WX requests and ATIS, we will cover them in a few minutes. So here we can see the block view, the taxi view and the trip view. So the block view is also being retrieved from the flight plan, same as for the taxi and the trip view. So what you can do is compare this with the Simbrief flight plan. If it's not correct, then press the OFP request send button again. It will again pull the data, and then if you want to change it, you can press the refuel load option, which will refuel the airport or aircraft. Silly to you can't refuel the airport. Then there's some other stuff which you need to keep in mind. That's the payload, forward and rear baggage. That's the I would say the weight of the baggage. And then we've got the 0 fuel weight and 0 fuel weight CG. CG, if I'm correct, stands for cargo. You need to make some notes about these numbers because we need them when, I would say, configuring the rest of the aircraft. So keep that in mind. So now we've done that, we will go back to the AOC menu because I promised that I would cover the WX request and ATIS. So what they do, the WX request allows you to ask for the weather, and that can be done either from one or multiple airports. So if I type in the names here, I can press, I can say send. I want to have the information from Amsterdam, and I will receive it in a message received normally. Sometimes it takes some time, so don't be shocked if you don't see it. And then we've got the ATIS one, and the ATIS one is almost the same, only it will request the ATIS information. Keep in mind that this functionality does not work at all the airports, and Amsterdam Schiphol is one of them where it doesn't work. To be honest, I didn't find any airport where it does work yet, but maybe I missed something, so it's something I need to look into. So what does this allow you to do? Well, it allows you to get the ATIS information from the airport, and you can either punch in the ICAO code manually, or you can get it directly from the flight plan. So you can say, okay, hey, I want to know it from the departure, or I want to know it from the arrival. Then you select the format, in this case the MCDU or the printer. Right, the printer will be added in a newer version of the A320 Annex add-on. Currently it's not there, so we set it to MCDU. Want to know it for departure, and then we're gonna press send. So once you did that, you can go back to the AOC menu and then see if we received the information. Well, you see that the meter information has been received. So this allows you to, I would say, get at least a clear view about what the weather conditions are at the airport. There's a print here, but you can't use it yet, so keep that in mind. And you can use the buttons below the MCDU to navigate to the view. So that Q code, for example, that's one which is important for when you are preparing yourself for the landing. So that's why I use this weather request option for in most cases. Enough done. So let's first look at the flight plan. As you can see, the flight plan has not been populated yet. That's something we're gonna do pretty soon. We've got some other options like the init, which allows you to I would say get some data from Simbrief. So, and how to do that is you can press the init request button here. So let me do that. In that case, it will pre-populate the data. If you don't use it, so if you, for example, manually punch in these numbers, the init request button will disappear. So keep that in mind. If you use Simbrief, then it's recommended to use the init button. If you're not using Simbrief, then you can use the manually options by manually specifying all the information here. You can see that manually specify the cost, the cruise flight level, the temperature, and some other information. Another thing you need to do in this page is the IRS init. And what you see is that currently it says, okay, hey, this is the reference, but it doesn't have any IRS init information. And the reason for that is that we simply didn't switch on the information. So to do that, what you need to do is go to the top of the aircraft, and here in the left corner, it's trying to make it a little bit more easy for you, you need to switch these buttons to nav mode. Once it's done, we can go into the screen again, and you will see that these values have been populated. What you need to do once these values have been populated is you need to align the reference, and once you've done that, you need to confirm it, and now it has confirmed our GPS position, which is good because now we've got all the information. On this page there's nothing more you can do, right? There's no next page or something. So what you will see is after we've done these tabs, that the flight plan has been populated, right? So it contains all the would say, waypoints, the departing airport, the destination airport. So the only thing you really need to do is, once you know the airport or the runway which you want to take off, is go to departure and select the correct runway. That will make sure that it adds the correct runway to your flight plan, and the same thing applies to the destination. But of course the destination, we don't know it yet. So we completed the init part. So next part is the perf part, which stands for the performance, which allows us to program the MCDU for performance, and also to make sure that we have, let's say, values for the V1, V-rotate and V2 values. So now you might ask, okay, hey, how can I populate these fields? Well, it's pretty easy. You just press once on the option, then you will see a value here, and you press again, and then it will auto-populate it. And you can do that for V2 and VR also. Then we've got the flaps and THS, right, which is also mentioned here in the checklist. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna say, okay, hey, I want to have the flap config of 1, and then press the button here. Keep in mind that if you change the flaps, you might want to, I would say, press again on these buttons, because it could change. If you're changing the flaps, it could change the V1, VR and V2 speeds. Then we're going to go to the next phase, which is simply the climb phase. You can see that it's acting in minutes mode, which means that as soon as you switch on the autopilot, it will take over. And the climb speed is around 184 knots. It's minute speed, it's not selected, so keep that in mind. And that's simply the aircraft ensuring that you're not, I would say, going into overspeed mode. Next mode is the cruise. That will go a little bit faster, 250 knots. And also a decent rate, right? It needs to descend the altitude. It will do it with 350 feet per minute. And then of course we've got the destination one and the approach ones, which are used for approach, and of course finally making the landing. Here you can see several things like the QNH, the temp, the wind. But these will be populated, I would say, prior to landing, right? That's done as a part of the, I would say, approach and landing phase. And then you've got the go around, and the go around is simply, okay, hey, I did miss my approach and I want to go around. Then it goes into go around mode. So double checking if we didn't miss anything. No, this looks all good. So look at the init one. And here you can see we missed something. And that's because there's no one or two pages. So, and this is where you find the zero fuel weight and the zero fuel weight cargo. Well, of course, I forgot those numbers, right? So I don't know. The only thing I remembered was something with 30. So we'll go back to the MCDU, ATSU, AOC. Then I go to the perf, go to the next page, so 58.7 and 30, so we'll go back to the init page. .7 and 30, so we'll punch those numbers in. Then you press the button here, and then you will see that a new option illuminates, which is fuel planning. So press it, and that will automatically set the block size. So if you're happy with it, then press confirm. If you're not happy with it, change it. But there's no really need to change it as far as I know. And then in some cases it goes to an untitled page. Don't be distracted by that, because that won't cause any issues. So going to the rest of the checklist, right? We've got the glare shield, which we can use. So there's we can increase or decrease the brightness of these displays. We can set the barometric reference, and that's really important to set, because if you're using the autopilot, it will use the barometric reference to make sure that it's on the correct altitude. So make sure that if you're tuning in, or if you're tuning into the radio or the tower, I should say, make sure that these values are matching the values they say you need to use. flight director, which you will find here. So, right, so make them blinking. There are two of them, one on the left, one on the right side. Then we can go to these buttons, right? And these buttons allow you to change the, I would say, the range of the heading and map. But you can see that it's currently set to heading map not available. So what you can do is you can change to plan mode. And if you change to plan mode, you will have the option to change the range, which shows the current plan which you're flying. And again, you've got it on the left and right side, so both you and the co-pilot can work on that. Then we've got the VOR and ADF. So you can display that information, right? So you can switch it to this and will display the VOR information. If you change it to the right, it will display the ADF1 information in here. So you can leave it to the default. It's not, I didn't come in a situation where I need to change it. FCU, not sure what it stands for, to be honest, but we've got the speed mag window, which is here, and here we've got the button to switch from let's say knots to max and vice versa. We've got the heading, which is heading and a vertical speed, I should say, which can be changed here, but there's no need to change it yet. And the inlet climb clearance, so you can set the initial climb here. So once you contact the tower, once you requested, I would say, permission to take off, then they will assign you a specific altitude, which you need to assign here. So I'll talk about it. Let's do that. So we're gonna open the ATC menu. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna listen into the ATIS and listen about the weather conditions, etc. So I will stay quiet for now and just enjoy the ATIS calling out all the information.
Schiphol Airport information, Quebec 13000. Wind 060 at 41. Visibility 1 in snow. Sky condition, few clouds at 700 feet, few clouds at 4,200 feet, few clouds at 13,000 feet. Temperature -4. Dew point 10. Altimeter 29.56. ILS runway 6 in use. Landing and departing runway 6. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact. You have Quebec.
So that was it. So we switch to the ground, and what we're gonna do is we can request takeoff. One of the things you will see is that in some scenarios, why you didn't send the flight plan as we did, it will just assume that you're gonna take off from something. First wait for the autopilot to shut up.
All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact. You have Quebec.
So there it was. So she's happy now. So she provided us all the information. So we've got the flight plan, right, which we already had here. But in some cases, what I saw is that it doesn't, I would say, get you all the information. What you can do is go to the ATC menu, and then you can press the request button. This allows you to, I would say, kind of do some redirecting of the flight. So this is not what we're looking for. So keep that in mind. You can do this. Use the request button to, I would say, divert your flight. But in this case, we want to do the depart request, right? So we can push in the gate. So let me have a look at it. No, it's also not the option. I'm sorry, guys. So in that case, what we're gonna do is we're gonna ask for departure, and what we're gonna do is we know that the say what kind of thing would we... Well, let's ask for remain in pattern, right? So we're gonna remain in pattern.
Skip full ground Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray 320 ready to taxi touch and go with Quebec.
Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray 320 Schiphol Ground Airport is currently IFR. Request denied.
So we're not allowed. Fun. And this is the reason for this, that there's currently no VFR allowed due to the weather, right? So we need to file our flight plan. So I'm gonna go to this list because I'm pretty sure that I saw it somewhere. So this is all fine, so the flight plan is in. GPS primary, that's also good. Flight levels are set correctly. These are also fine. So in that case we're gonna do a trick, see if that works. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna define the runway which we're gonna take. Let's say insert. And then we probably need to go back. It's pretty weird, huh? Pretty sure that I saw get the initial clearance from here, but for some reason it doesn't work or it doesn't like it. Probably. So what I'm gonna do is again.
Schiphol ground KLM 755 request. KLM 755 pushback request accepted.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna tune into clearance, and then see, that's the option. So to recap, what we did is here we directly went to the ground, but for some reason it didn't pop up the menu. So what we do, how to fix that scenario, and sorry for not sorry for this, I would say small deviation, is what we now did, that we simply added the departing runway 6, and now we've got the option here when we tune into clearance, and we can request clearance.
Clearance delivery Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray 320 IFR to Pulkovo ready to copy.
Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray 320 is cleared to Pulkovo Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 6 climb and maintain 7,000 feet. Departure frequency is 119.055 squawk 4314.
So we're gonna confirm.
Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray 320 cleared to Pulkovo Airport is filed. Takeoff runway 6 climb and maintain 7,000 feet. Departure on 119.055 squawk 4314.
Airbus 320 read back correct. Contact ground on 121.59er.
So what we're gonna do now, or what we're gonna do like after this, so we're gonna make this screen a little bit bigger. So it did give us some information, right? It said, okay, hey, the maintain 7,000 feet, so we're gonna change that to 7,000 feet on the autopilot. So that's being done. So we're gonna close this window again.
Schiphol ground KLM 755 with Quebec ready to taxi IFR. KLM 755 taxi to and hold short of runway 6 via taxiway Alpha 14 Alpha 15 Bravo Alpha 13 Alpha Romeo Sierra 1 Alpha 13. Contact tower on 119.23 when ready.
So once we've done that, we can continue with our checklist. So again, sorry for the delay with the flight plan. Sometimes it's, I hate this issue. So what you can do is to avoid that is you can load the flight plan into Flight Simulator, which is generated by Simbrief. That will also fix the issue in in this case we also fix it like this. So we're gonna continue with the list of the checklist. I'm gonna increase the brightness for the PFD and also for this screen, so that's fine. Then we can go to the central displays and make sure that everything is working as expected, which are these values. So we're gonna look at the altimeter, etc. Are they set correctly? We're gonna check the clock and several other things, and then we're gonna perform or really start the engines. So what we already did is, of course, and that's being displayed here, is we set up the initial config of the MCDU using the perf menu, right? That's already what we did. It's set to take off. So we need to make sure that the external power is switched off. Sorry. I'm gonna switch it off. Doors are closed. Steering wheel, if it works. And then we're gonna ask for pushback. So we need to go to the 8s again. Simply say, okay, hey, we need to request IFR.
Skip hold ground Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray 320 with Quebec ready to taxi IFR.
Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray 320 taxi to and hold short of runway 6 via taxiway Alpha 19er Echo Alpha Quebec Alpha Romeo Sierra 1 Alpha 1 tree. Contact tower on 119er decimal 2 tree when ready.
And confirm.
Taxi to and hold short runway 6 via taxiway Alpha 19er Echo Alpha Quebec Alpha Romeo Sierra 1 Alpha 1 tree Airbus 320.
Skip hall ground, KLM 1575, requesting pushback.
KLM 1575 pushback request accepted.
So what we're doing now is we're going to request pushback help.
Skip hold ground Airbus Alpha
It's
Sierra
listed here,
X-ray
right? So
320 requesting pushback.
I'm gonna switch on the beacon lights. Just
Skip
switch
hall
here.
ground Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray 320 no pushback tug is available to answer your request.
That's nice. There are no trucks available, so is there really nothing available? Doesn't look like. So let's go inside the airplane again. Because one thing I just figured out is that we didn't switch on the heating for the engines and for the wings, which in these weather conditions is something which is almost mandatory. So we're gonna request pushback again.
Skip hold ground Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray 320 requesting pushback.
Skip hall ground Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray 320 no pushback tug is available to answer your request.
Sometimes you need to try it a few times. If that doesn't work, there's always another option.
Skip hold ground Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray 320 requesting pushback.
Skip hall ground Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray 320 no pushback tug is available to answer your request.
It looks like that they really don't want us to depart. And to show you that workaround, we need to go to the controls option. So inside the controls option, right, there are the multiple controls. So in my case, I want to use my, I would say, normal joystick. And what you need to do is you need to make sure that the assigned filter is set to all. And then search for reverse. In my case, you can see that I set button 5 and 10, I've set them to reverse throttling. And the reason I did it is because that allows you to, I would say, kind of go reverse, right? So you don't need a pushback truck for that. So we're gonna accept it. I'm gonna go back. Then we're gonna try it once, and if it's not available, we're gonna simply use the workaround.
Contact tower on 119er decimal 2 tree when ready.
So I'm gonna jump in right now.
755 continue taxi.
Taxiing hold short runway 6 via taxiway Alpha 17 Alpha, Quebec Alpha Romeo Sierra 1 Alpha 1 tree KLM 1575.
Skip hold ground Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray 320 requesting pushback.
Skip all ground. Airbus Alpha Sierra
Yeah.
X-ray 320.
Now it's
No
enough.
pushback tug is available to
So
answer
now we're
your
gonna
request.
take it on our own control. So what we're gonna do is close this window and we're gonna make sure that the rest is okay. So thrust levels are set to 0. Parking brake is set, right? So we can press the button and then you will see the pressure applied to the brake. We're gonna use the parking brake as needed. Keep in mind if you switch it off in the A320, it will say if you once you start the engines, it will push the aircraft forward. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start up the engines. Normally you would get the pushback truck, but since we didn't get it, we're doing it via another way. So we're gonna start the engines, and as soon as you did that, what you will see is that the values here will start to change. So the N2 starts to change. And once it's set to idle, you can switch on the other one, right? So you can wait or you can simply switch on the other one. And then we need to wait till the aircraft or till the engines have started and have stabilized. And you see some nice menus popping up here, right? So in the meantime, let's have a look at the outside. See it going faster and faster. And if we would go to the airplane, you'll see that the other one has already started. So let's give it some more time because it's not the same values yet as the other one. So once these are, I would say, stable, which they are currently, we need to set the buttons here to normal, and then we need to switch off the APU bleed. So let's do that. And the APU bleed can be found here. Ground spoilers can be set to arm, right? So you can set the speed brake if you want. Rudder trim not needed for now, as well as the other options. So we can switch off the APU master switch. So that's done, and then we're gonna try to push back, or try to, I would say, push back ourselves. So we're gonna try it just one more time.
Skip whole ground Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray 320 requesting pushback.
Skip all ground. Airbus Alpha Sierra X-ray 320. No pushback tug is available to answer your request.
Okay. Well, in that case, we're gonna do it ourselves, right? So we're gonna press the button. And you can see as soon as I press the button,
755, hold position caution, the generic on the taxiway.
oh, set to reverse.
755, continue taxi. Roger, KLM 755.
For some reason it doesn't want to go backward. Come on. Maybe because the see, it goes forward, so it goes. So So for some reason it does look like that the reverse order doesn't like me. So let's give it one more try. And also we're a little bit in a stuck mode, right? We can't go anywhere. If that's the case, then I will need to end the video here, and probably yeah, it doesn't work. No, even like this it doesn't do it, right? So unlucky us, there's no pushback truck, so we're kind of stuck. So we need to tell all our passengers the bad news that there's no pushback truck. So here ends this video. At least we completed the goal, right? Our goal was to let's say have a look at how we can start up the A320. Well, that's done. So the next part is that we need to go to the taxi via taxiways to the runway and then take off. But that will be covered in our next episode of this video. Hope you liked this video. If you liked this video, then consider to use the like button. If you've got questions or comments or maybe even tips because I struggled with some pieces, please let me know so I can create a new video and letting other people know. If you like to stay up to date about new videos being posted, then consider to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching and see you next time.